A city in Colorado is telling a surveillance camera company to go flock themselves. Congresswoman Boebert says there is a perfectly reasonable explanation for spending campaign funds on a Kid Rock concert. Denver Summit won its match today against city leaders who are questioning taxpayer subsidies.
It's super complicated for the public to understand where these dollars are coming from.
And an entire fire department changes its sleep schedule based on research.
In the world, we think of it as more of like sleep opportunity rather than guarantee.
Wake up! It's time for Next. Elected leaders across Colorado are watching flock surveillance cameras just as closely as those cameras are watching all of us. They've been criticized in communities up and down the Front Range, and now the city of Longmont is ditching flock, letting their contract expire early next year, not renewing it over concerns about how surveillance data is shared. We believe Longmont is the second jurisdiction in Colorado to ditch flock after Elbert County did the same. Conservative leaders in Elbert County were worried about government surveillance. The fear elsewhere has been how data is shared with immigration agents and the Trump administration. Members of Longmont City Council said cases like the ones that we uncovered in Longmont, or in Loveland rather, with access being granted to ICE through the ATF was too much to ignore.
Been some incidents. There was one in Loveland that was clearly against state statute. They shouldn't have disclosed that information in the state of Colorado.
Now, to sit here and tell you that another agency won't break the law, it's like me telling you that, you won't go home tonight and speed. I can't determine what you will do with that data.
At this point, there could be increasing regulation on flock coming at the state level, where there is a Democrat who's bringing a bill that would require law enforcement to get a warrant to access those systems. Senator Michael Bennet is getting on board with redistricting Colorado to favor Democrats after Republicans have announced plans to do the same in red states. Bennett's rival for the Democratic nomination for governor, Attorney General Phil Weiser, led on this. A couple weeks ago, AG Weiser unveiled his support for that move here on Next. He became the first prominent Democrat in Colorado to endorse the maneuver. So while Weiser made a public splash with his push to join the redistricting battle, Bennet did it quietly with a statement to a Substack called The Down Ballot. Bennet told Next today that Colorado needs to, quote, do our part. Democrats from California to New York have wrestled with whether to redraw congressional districts to benefit their team after President Trump ordered Republicans to find him new GOP seats in red states. Given Colorado Republicans' lack of competitiveness in statewide races, the 2026 race for governor could very well be decided in that Democratic primary between Bennet, who's more of a centrist Dem, and Weiser, who's on the progressive side. Until now, redistricting was one of the issues where they were divided. Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert is pushing back on questions about why she spent thousands of dollars in campaign funds on Kid Rock tickets and a hotel room for his show outside Dallas in May this year. Her team says it was not a personal trip, it was a fundraising event. Kid Rock was putting on his Rockin' Rodeo, a combination concert and rodeo event. Boebert was hosting a $12,000 a head fundraiser there in a private suite. $12,000 breaks down to roughly $500 for every time that Kid Rock sings Diggy 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 and Bow to Bow, or about $170 on a per diggy basis. A filing from Boebert's campaign says she raised $90,000 at that event. Spokesperson for Boebert provided a statement saying it, quote, isn't a story, but I understand the new bosses at Nexstar want to see those clicks and views before they decide to keep you around. Hope this helps. Denver Summit, the new women's professional soccer team, has never played a game, and yet the team already has a rival, Denver City Council. Front office leaders for the summit faced off with council for the second time over millions of dollars in public funding that was promised by Denver's mayor. Summit won today's match, but there's no guarantee that they will get those tax dollars. Our Marshall Zellinger explains.
Let's take a stroll on the bridge to nowhere that will be somewhere if the Denver Summit women's soccer team builds its stadium just to the north near I-25 and Broadway, which will happen if City Council approves the $50 million in city money Denver Mayor Mike Johnston promised.
I want to really thank Council President for pressing for us to get the breakdown of how our $50 million investment on the site itself will be spent.
City Council President Amanda Sandoval gave Denver Summit a yellow card warning last month when she did not have the breakdown of how the money would be spent. After that meeting, the team put out a statement saying it was engaging with other jurisdictions. Team owner Rob Cohen said they were simply responding to a journalist's question. Team president Jen Millay said it was not meant to be a threat.
It was never meant to challenge council in any way. We need to have a home for this team, and we need to do that in 2028.
I just have to say publicly that as a female and as a leader on council whose job it is to help my colleagues usher this in, felt like a direct attack to me because I was asking questions.
I validate those feelings about feeling as a threat, and I wasn't even at that committee meeting.
I took that as a reflection of the reality, not as you better approve this or else.
Now that that's settled, City Council did see a breakdown of the $50 million. $35 million for the land, $7 million for earthwork and excavation, and more for infrastructure improvements totaling almost $56 million. $6 million too much.
The good news for the city is that the team is on the hook for those overruns.
The committee approved the agreements, sending them to the full city council on Monday, but there's still a hiccup. A CBA, Community Benefits Agreement, between the neighborhood organizations and the team is agreed to but still being written. Basically, promises the team has agreed to with the community. Things like local artists providing artwork for the stadium, perhaps scholarships for local students, and maybe a shuttle to get local residents to games. Council has not seen the CBA yet.
I think it's disrespectful. Something that's that important, we need time to consider.
There is no way that there is a vote on this on Monday without us receiving a CBA.
This has to be voted on twice by council, once Monday and again the Monday after. I don't know if there's stoppage time or not, but the team did not say that it would stop talking with other jurisdictions. They have a commitment with the NWSL to play somewhere in 2028. So I guess from a team standpoint, it makes sense to keep your options open just in case.
So I know that, right, this is football, it's not football, but in the football scenario with the Broncos, it always felt like a bluff to me when they're like, let's become the Lone Tree Broncos or the Aurora Broncos. It's like, I get it, right? You're just shaking the tree to get some stuff out of Denver. But like, I don't have a read on this soccer situation. Do you have a read on whether it's genuine that they'd really pull out of Denver?
I don't, other than that this is, as long as the money is there, they're good. But the question is, if there's money that does not exist from the city to improve around the stadium that they don't have to build, if that money's not there, then that stadium is not getting built there.
Yeah.
And people can jump in and say, we'll have you over here. And I know we're going to get the emails. Why not just go play at Dick's Sporting Goods Park? And that, because a women's team wants to prove it can do it on its own, make money on its own, and not be beholden to a men's organization. And so,
yeah, and there's very fair questions about whether building Dick's way out where it is was a smart move when centrality in the city is what the Broncos want and it's what the women's team want. They want to be central in the city. All right, Marshall, thank you. It's now time for one of our absolute favorite holiday traditions around here. This is when we make Christmas happen for thousands of kids who live in public housing in Denver. This is the 6th straight year that you have covered the cost of a holiday gift to ease the financial strain on those families. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports the holiday gift drive through the nonprofit Friends of Denver Housing Authority. So it used to be that kids in that program got gifts on a first-come, first-served basis based on when their parents would sign up. But then your generosity came along 6 years ago and changed the game for these families in need. For years, you have covered the cost of a gift for every single child in Denver's public housing. And your generosity has spilled beyond that group of kids. So here's how it's going to work this year. If we can cover the costs of all those gifts, Friends of DHA will next go and cover the cost of gifts for kids in their low-income housing tax credit program. It's a separate population within the city. If we can cover gifts for all of those children, they will begin to start reaching out to families in their dispersed housing units around the city, the Section 8 housing. The bottom line is, you make the holidays happier for thousands of families who are really struggling, and that is no small thing. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491. We'll send you that link to donate. Even $5 helps because it adds up quickly. 5 years of pooling your $5 donations has raised $16 million for nonprofits across our state. And you know the deal. I'm never going to ask you to give a loan, so I'll match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us going. More than 6,000 of you have signed up to make a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. You put in your info once and you automatically support every nonprofit that we feature with an amount that you choose. That's added more than $30,000 to our recent weekly microgiving.
This later shift start time should get it to the point where our firefighters almost don't need an alarm.
West Metro firefighters are going to start coming into work a bit later after a study found the first responders just need more sleep. And a high school bowling team intentionally a bit outside their lane. That's next. One of Colorado's largest fire departments is making major changes to the hours its firefighters work after they hooked them up to hundreds of sleep trackers. Our Evan Krugel has the story.
We run on this stuff.
Life at a fire station often revolves around the coffee pot.
I think it's just a constant stream. Just keep me right under the ulcer point.
Mike Binney
is
the assistant chief for West Metro Fire.
There, that looks better.
And says in this job,
Engine 3, fire alarm.
You simply never know when you'll get a chance to rest.
The tones go off and away you go.
Once the call comes in, there's no hitting snooze.
That's the nature of what we do. We need to be ready to respond at any time. The average firefighter is blessed with the skill of being able to fall asleep or nap pretty much anywhere.
For as long as Mike can remember, firefighters have worked from 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. 2 days later.
We work 48 hours straight.
It's a unique schedule.
Last one on the right.
That leaves Captain Luke Bazakis reaching for the coffee too.
My caffeine intake is probably a little excessive, but try to minimize it to 2 cups a day if I can.
Both firefighters say it's been this way as long as they can remember.
We've been waking up at night since the 40s. No, this is, the job has required 24-hour response for a long time.
Take this November night, for example. At 1:17, a medical call pulls Captain Bazakis' crew from their bunks. 30 minutes later, they're back. But at 4:31, the alarms sound again. They return to the station just before sunrise, and just like that, they're out the door again at 7:12. And this night isn't the exception. It's the routine.
Been kind of going through the rest of the day, another 8 calls on top of that. So we stay busy for sure.
Earlier this year, over yet another cup of Joe, Mike had a realization.
It's got to be a more efficient way to do this.
So he partnered up with the Yale School of Public Health and the Colorado Office of E-Health Innovation to outfit 166 firefighters with sleep tracking devices.
We were able to chart everyone in the program's sleep over a 6-day cycle.
That data revealed what their bodies already knew. Firefighters don't sleep well on the job, averaging around 6 hours a day.
The 2 days in blue are the 2 days people are at the fire station.
It also revealed something else.
We're waking people up at, on average, 5:32 in the morning to come to work. And then again, we're waking people up at 5:46 in the morning to get the station ready to go home from work. So we can see this is a pretty glaring thing that we can do with policy to fix this issue.
Beginning next month, West Metro firefighters will begin starting work at 9 a.m., allowing firefighters to wake up naturally on the first and second day of their shift.
This later shift start time should get it to the point where our firefighters almost don't need an alarm unless they're commuting from a lot further away.
Mike hopes the extra energy at the start of the shift will carry over throughout, meaning less caffeine.
Just chug it.
And a more rested staff ready to respond.
You know, hopefully 10 years from now, people look back and say, wow, they were doing it different.
For Next, I'm Evan Krugel.
So beginning in January, that same group of firefighters will track their sleep under the new shift for a couple of months. They'll compare the numbers to see if the change was worth it, figure out if they're really getting more sleep. Let's bring in meteorologist Chris Bianchi. No sleep for the firefighters. No decent snow for Denver in the longest.
Exactly right, Kyle. We have not had a 6-inch snowstorm in Denver in over 13 months. Last time we had a snowstorm for us of 6 inches or more, that was back on November the 5th through the 9th of 2024. Again, over 13 months ago. And before you ask, I know you're saying, wait, did it snow 6 inches last week? 4.3 inches at the airport and 4.8 inches at the Central Park Station, about 5 inches for us in downtown Denver, just shy of that threshold. Otherwise, the big story, the big impact, is the wind. 60 to 70 mile an hour gusts for us in some of our windy locations in the mountains and the foothills. High wind warning for us in the mountains that will run through tonight and to tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. That high wind warning expires. Those winds will be whipping for us in those higher foothills, peak to peak highway. Some of our usual windy spots, Berthoud Pass, Netherland, looking at those 70 to 80 mile an hour winds in Denver tomorrow. A bit gusty for us, but the story for us in Denver for tonight and tomorrow, it is warm. 43 tonight, tomorrow 65. Average high this time of year is in the mid-40s, and we've got nothing even close to that over the next few days, and no meaningful chances for rain or snow either.
It's way deeper than bowling. It's way deeper than sports. It's Lakewood. You know, we're family here.
It is friendship. It is inclusion. It's just disguised as a bowling team. That's next. I bet many of us don't tend to think of bowling as a team sport, but Lakewood High School's unified bowling team just showed the life-changing power of being part of a team.
All right, Evie, where are you going?
Working together is a great way to accomplish a goal.
Good job, Lay and Zay.
Michael Miranda shares that lesson with his students at Lakewood High School.
This is my 7th year teaching Unified PE at Lakewood. I've been a severe needs special ed teacher for 19 years now. So Unified PE is when we grab students with an intellectual disability, partner them up with their typical peers. Without a doubt, the most valuable members of our team besides the athletes are our paraeducators.
Mr. Sean is the best coach, right? But you're the best player, right?
Right.
Awesome.
Sean Wynn works with Elijah every day.
Working with the kids is really awesome experience.
11th grader Aaliyah helps out her friends Emma and Josh.
Doing activities in gym.
Yeah.
Their teamwork is paying off outside of this gym.
Kids on the bowling team, since we won state championships.
Yeah, we won state championship bowling.
The state-sanctioned event pairs kids like Josh, Emma, and Elijah with partners like Aaliyah, one player rolling after another.
When Aaliyah would get a spare, the rare occurrence of a spare, we'd have Laserman come up here and
The Tigers knocked down 649 total pins, bringing the title to Lakewood.
He was locked in, weren't you? You locked in, you did good?
Yes.
Are you proud of yourself?
Yes.
Good.
Super proud moment for all of our athletes, all of the staff here at Lakewood.
That's like what I wanted from the beginning, just to see how excited the kids were, especially when we won.
It was super exciting.
Emotional.
A unified effort that goes beyond the lanes.
Good job, buddy.
For next,
Good job, good try, good try.
I'm Mike Grady.
That's good stuff right there. We're back with your feedback next. Let's buy some holiday gifts for kids in Denver's neediest families. For 6 years now, we as a Next community have covered the cost of a Christmas gift for every child living in Denver's public housing. I realize that this year is tight for a lot of people watching and for those families too, so I'm hoping that we can do this again. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to join me in giving to the Friends of Denver Housing Authority Holiday Gift Drive. They found that what the families can use best is a gift card. And here's a note from a mom who got one last year. She wrote, "This will help in getting my children things for the new year, such as socks, underwear, clothes, etc. As a family, we really appreciate this." Your feedback tonight, this via text. Dude, why doesn't Denver just give the women's soccer team Mile High Stadium when the Broncos get their new stadium? Dude. Well, respectfully, dude, the new women's soccer stadium is anticipated to seat about 14,000 people. Mile High's got a lot more capacity than that, so guessing that they don't want to pay to maintain a big stadium that they wouldn't be filling.